Hey guys, here's Louis. So I've been working really hard on the Lovebird, and I want to let you guys know that I am 100% welded, and I'm talking about the quarter panel. So the quarter panels are 100% welded to the car. That filler you guys see there is the fiberglass, supposed to be waterproof filler that you will put where you did your welding at. Okay, and I always put a little more than what I need. I went down here because here's where I had to do that split. All right, that it gave me a little issue to put on when I butt welded to the car, but I found my way out of it, and I am really happy with the results. I still have sanding to do, but it's getting there, and I'm really happy how everything is turning out. Okay, I didn't have to use a whole lot of it. All right, and like I said, this is roughed in. I just did like a quick pass with the DA and a 40 grit quick pass because I need to move on with the project. I could always come back to Bodywork. All right, and later I will seal everything up, and you guys already know how things go when you're doing Bodywork. I mean, this was just to protect my wells, and I also want to continue sanding the black coating that it comes from the manufacturer that you're ordering it from, because that black coating, I believe, is the EDP coating, is just for shelf life. And like people have mentioned over and over again, and myself, that if you don't sand this, or when you're going to sand it, you even find a little rust behind that paint. Okay, even though they tell you that you could just scuff it and shoot your primer on top of that, that's a no-no. Inside the car, panels that are going to be in the car, I don't see it a big deal. Okay, I just scuff those, or I sand it with like a 180, and then I shoot the primer in the panels that are in the car. But these external panels, it's really important to take all that crap off. Okay, so quarter panels are in. I did a rough sanding to this side, and I just threw filler on this side, and I still need to sand that down. But I am up to the tail panel. Okay, I love so far how everything is fitting. I just need to do a small patch right there, but this is what I did. All right, for you guys out there that want to keep, and I think is my opinion, and I respect everybody's opinion, if you want to cover the body lines and you really don't care about them, the rear body lines here, listen, I respect your opinion. As for me, I love to see the first gen birds and follow that body line. And if you could see, I saved the original behind the quarter panels going down, so I had to burn the new quarter skins into the old quarter panel structure in the back to keep my lines. And let me tell you something, I am really happy how the lines look. Okay, now I won't be going through the video on this video of I'm just gonna go by the steps of welding your tail panel, but I'm not gonna show it. Okay, because I need to move on this bird. So here you will weld here 3 to 4. You could do 2 here and 2 here. You're gonna weld this to your tail panel. Okay, also you're gonna be welding in here, and that goes for that side also, same thing. You are going to need your deck lid latch brace, which I'm going to use the original one of this car. I will show you once I am done. It's still in great shape. Okay, you also need to weld down here. All right, and what I like to do is I like to get a marker, a silver marker, and right here I use the self tappers just to hold it in place because I was happy where she's at. But I will go here and I'll put a marker circle here. I'll do another little dot or circle with the marker here, and I'll go here and I go here, and I just keep on, and that will indicate me, will show me, will guide me where I'm going to put my next self tappers. Now, in the original Firebirds, okay, the original F-body cars, even Camaro, there's like a million spot welds here. Not a million. I'm kind of over saying it, but there's a whole lot of tack welds there. I ain't gonna do so much, but I will do enough to make it strong. Then in here, I don't know if you guys can see this, but right in here, you will weld the tail panel from this section in. Also, from right here in, all right, do a couple of spot welds, and your tail panel also takes spot welds starting from the bottom of here all the way across to the next bottom on this side. Okay, that's what I'm going to be working on today. And then after that, I'm going to be working, believe it or not, on the leaf springs. Okay, we will be working on how to restore your leaf springs on a first gen F body, this one being the Firebird. So these are the original leaf springs. I will go through them, and the only way I will not use this if I find a crack. Okay, I have in the past, and I have to go and buy other leaf springs. But so far, what I could see, while I'm taking nothing apart, they look okay. Of course, you're gonna have rust on it, but this is what you need for your leaf springs to be rebuilt. Okay, I will be cutting this. I will use either a grinder or sawzall, cutting this bolt using my air hammer, hitting it out this way. Same procedure for the next one. Then I would cut this clamp off, cut this bolt off, and separate them. Okay, I will use a grinder with a wire brush and clean all this rust out. Clean it all out, wipe it down, make sure it's nice and clean. I use alcohol, rubbing alcohol to wipe it down, and I will paint them. I'm not going to paint this with a spray gun, a paint gun. A simple way is just using a brush and paint. What is my paint of choice? I will be getting to that. Now, this rebuilt kit here for your leaf springs I bought on eBay. Is a gentleman out from Illinois. If you guys want me to share it, leave a comment and I will send you to his link on eBay. But this is what it brought. It brought the new shackles with the bushings, with the bolts, okay? It brought the insulators. It brought these T-bolts, which is beautiful. Looks just like the original, all right? It brought all these T-bolts. I'm going to explain that in a minute. This I actually used from the 1968 white Firebird car that I built the leaf spring also. Just 2 of them was left over. I need 2 more. Each of these are gonna take 4, 2 for each side. All right, for each leaf spring. I also bought this from the same gentleman. These are your cutout plates to repair your bushing mounting holes on your subframe. So pretty soon here at the garage, I need to bring the subframe and I need to bring the rear end because the bird is finally gonna go down on his own wheels and it's really exciting. So I need to get this done. Okay, it also in this kit, it brought the bolts, okay, for your eye perch. This bolt that goes through here. It brought the bolt, the nuts, there goes the nut, and these cage nuts, okay, with the bolts that goes on the bottom section of the floor, which is over here, okay, on your torque box of the main floor, where you're going to be mounting these leaf spring eye perches. Okay, so guys, let me get busy here, and as I go along I will be filming my steps. So my first steps is cut these bolts off both sides. All right guys, so what I end up doing was cutting off the bolts from this end and this end from the eye spring shackle right there, the old one, and this is the left side. So the left side is your driver's side, and I always like to label my sides. And here If you guys could see, I put an L, and I also scribed a mark here, because that I already know that the bolt is going to go in this way. Okay, and I have the bushing right over here. This is the new bushing. I picked this one up in AutoZone. That's the part number right there. Spring bushing. And the side that you see that has this bevel, this lip right here. This side is smooth, doesn't have no lip. But this side that has a lip will be going in like this. Okay. So now that I took this side out, I need to take the shackle side out and remove all the leaf springs. And the tool that I use is my Sozo. Here is a Milwaukee electrical, and the blade is a Diablo blade. Believe me, buy the ones that say for thick metal. You're not going to regret it. I think I used 2 of those blades. Okay, now they are expensive. They almost $20 each. But I was able to cut the complete floor of the bird, the lovebird, using that blade. So 2 blades. I went through one already, and I'm still using this one. I also was able to cut the convertible that I had outside. Okay, and a whole bunch of other things, and I'm using the second one now. So basically 2 blades for a complete project and then some. I think the money is worth it. All right, now, so this is the shackle part. When you finish cutting your bolts off on both ends, if it's stuck, sometimes these are not stuck. This one happened to be really stuck. So I cut the bolts on this end and this end to remove the old shackle, all right, that I had here. You see it right there on the floor. And what I use is a drill bit. Okay, got the drill, put the bit on, and I just kept drilling, going in, coming out, going in, coming out, going in, coming out, until your drill is able to spin in there. And after you do that, she'll get real loose inside the leaf spring, and you're able to take it out and just pop that sucker right out of there. Now on the leaf spring shackle side of the leaf spring, you have to clean this really nice and clean. Okay, and what I like to use is a small wire wheel that you could hook up to your drill, and one that fits, if not snug, as close as possible to the diameter of the hole, and just go in and out like you're owning a cylinder wall. Same thing. Ooh, you go in and out so she's nice and smooth and clean. And you could go and clean it up and apply a little grease there that won't hurt the rubber. Okay, just to make it nice and smooth. And the same thing I am going to do to the side of the leaf spring eye shackle. Okay, I'm gonna drill this for this to come out. The rubber will come out. This rubber is stuck in there. And my next move will be how to remove this metal sleeve. All right, guys, and this one, to collapse your sleeve here, your metal sleeve. Well, the way I do it, and remember, this is the leaf eye spring perch side. Okay, to collapse the spring, the way I do it is I'll bring the Sozo right in here, and be careful. All right, if you plan to use these Diablo blades for the thick metal, this will cut real quick. I just take my time, and once I see that I cut through inside, you guys can see that. Once I know I cut through while hitting the leaf spring, I stop. Now we'll use a chisel with a hammer and hit around here for this to collapse, because this cut over here allows the sleeve to collapse, and take it out. All right, guys, so I already made the cut here with the Sozo blade going in here, And I'm gonna tell you something. When you go here for the Sawzall blade, all right, you could use a hacksaw too. You could just cut about that much in. You don't have to cut all the way in. And the same amount you cut here, you go to the next side and you cut it. All right. And you can see she is collapsed now. Okay. And as you could tell, I left this much still there while being cut. Then I got my air hammer here. My air hammer here with a chisel. And I hit it this way. Also on that side to crush the sleeve. And once you have that, she's pretty much gonna go bye-bye. There you go. Bye-bye. And now, same procedure I will be using. And if you guys could see, I did not nick this. It's not cut in no shape or form. All right, this little line you see here, that's because the air hammer happened to scratch the rust that is in there. But this is the way I always have done my leaf springs on the birds, first generation Firebirds. And I'm going to continue doing it this way because, I mean, everybody has a different way, but this is the Louis way. You have first generation garage. So I'm going to ohm this out and clean it now with the wire wheel. And I'm going to take apart the whole leaf spring. That is next. All right, guys. And once you cut the nut off the bolt that's going through the leaf springs, she's going to be really rusty, especially if you're using an original leaf spring here. All right. And what I do is I cut it off and I shoot down here some PB blaster. Let it soak for a little bit. I'll take the hammer, give it a little shock wave there. All right. Now, on the other one, this is the second one I'm taking apart. On the other one, I even used the air hammer. I also use a chisel with a 5-pound hammer, which is right here, and she will not budge. She wouldn't go down. So if this ever happens to you, there's no need to panic. No need to panic. What you do is you start hitting the leaf spring one way. And there you go. The first one came off. And as you keep on, you'll clean this real nice. You could use even a wire brush. You'll keep on spraying your PB blaster and it will work without a problem. Getting a wire brush, sorry. Okay. Get a wire brush. You clean the top surface. Put a little PB blaster there. You'll take your hammer, and again, you're gonna hit the next leaf spring to the side. Okay, if you guys saw that, she sprung up. Sometimes she'll spring up, sometimes she won't. Even though if she don't spring up, once she starts turning, it will break through the rust there, and you will be able to take off the leaf spring. Okay, there you go. All right, and now your insulators is this plastic piece here. It's plastic. It's an insulator. That's for you not to have no noise while you're driving. I just take a screwdriver, put in the center. Here she goes. Okay. I have these coming in the mail. I should be receiving them tomorrow. And believe me, when I'm about to put everything back, I'm going to show you guys everything that you would need to be putting back your leaf springs back together. So this is a rebuild, how to rebuild your leaf springs. Well, here it is, okay? And like I said, you just continue. You would just continue cleaning the rust off, all right? Spraying a little PB blaster, all right? Same thing, just hit it. Okay, there you go. And another one that came off successfully. And once again, you'll take your hammer, you take your screwdriver, your flathead screwdriver, put in the center where your insulator is, and hit it. Boom. See that? Came right off. Turn it to the next side. Bang. Done. And eventually, when you work your way to the last leaf spring, you shoot down some PB blaster down here, you whack that bolt, and I guarantee you she's going to come right out. And there we go. We have all the leaf springs taken apart. Okay, my next move will be to take off all the surface rust that is here on these leaf springs and clean them out. Okay, I mean, I will like I said, I'll use I wash them down with a little bit of alcohol, anything that's just gonna make it nice and clean. Even little paint thinner that I have right there, lacquer thinner, things like that. All right, just to make sure it's nice and clean. All right, I even will use brake cleaner, you know, on things like this to clean this kind of metal. That's not a problem. And then I am going to use the paint that I like to use to give it a nice coat of primer. Okay, it's a metal to metal primer. Okay, direct to metal primer. All right, and like I told you, I'm going to make it as simple as just using a brush. I think anybody out there that's going to restore leaf springs, you guys could just pick up a cheap brush and get to painting. All right, and the way I'm going to clean these leaf springs, the rust off of them, is by you have two choices, the ones that I like to use. So I either like to use this wire wheel right here that's you could bolt it to, screw it to the grinder, or use the grinder with a floppy disk. Okay, and guys, I cannot say this enough. Please, please, please do yourself a favor, do me a favor. When you're building your cars or when you're doing any project that you need to use these grinders, they are excellent tools, but they are extremely dangerous. Please use a guard. I always make sure I pick up these discs that I'm able to spin it in there without interfering with the guard, because I won't use it with the guard, without the guard. I need the guard on. Okay, I have hurt myself with these in the past, believe it or not, because I didn't have the guard. So I'm speaking from experience, and if I could save anybody out there, I will. You see this light pink right here on my knuckles? It's because I took a nice chunk off using this. All right, so I would never ever use it again without the guard. Okay, and when you're gonna grind this metal, these things spin really fast. Do yourself a favor. You could have your hand here at the body of the grinder, okay, and in your next hand on the handle. And from time to time, when you shut off the grinder, make sure this is tight. There's a lot of vibration there, and it could work its way out. But listen, I want to explain something. I have done a lot of metal work in my life already. I mean, a whole lot. All right. I have built cars that are not just my cars. I have built cars for people's too. Okay. Even though if it's not a full build, but it had to do with metal. And believe me, I never found that this get in my way. Because where there's a will, there's a way. If you can't get it with the grinder, well, guess what? Choose another tool that will be safe. Even when you're using a cutoff wheel, please use the guard. The guard is there for a reason. I cannot stress this more. I'm sorry, but it's just a safety reason. And use eye protection, because any of these tools are dangerous without eye protection. And let's say one of these bristles come out, that's metal. And if it shoots right into your eye, you're not going to have a nice day. You are going to be miserable. So I just wanted to show that. All right. All right, guys. And check this out. Okay, I'm using the press to push in the bushing of the leaf spring. And as you guys can see, she is going in. Let me get this finished and I'll bring you guys right back. But this is how I do it. I mean, I'm thankful for this press. I bought it about 2-3 years ago, but it never let me down so far. All right, guys, so I got the second. All right, guys, and here I am using the grinder with a disc, a floppy disc here. It's 60 grit. You don't need nothing stronger than that. You just want to knock out the rust. Okay, if you see sparks flying, you're going too deep into the metal. You just want to go as quick as you can safely. Use goggles. I have goggles on. I also have a mask. Okay, now look at the difference when you're knocking off the rust, and look at it in the original state that I found it. Okay, so it's gonna make your life a whole lot easier when you're going to apply the paint. All right, so I finished one full set of the leaf springs. Look at the difference. Okay, the before and the after. It's a huge difference in my opinion. Now I'm going to finish these 5 leaf springs here, and once I am done, I'll rinse them down with a towel and alcohol, rubbing alcohol, and then I'll start priming. And there we go. We have the leaf springs covered with primer now. I was able to paint both sides. Okay. And also one of the longest leaf springs here. Painted both sides. Once again, this is what I use, the Rust-Oleum Rusty Metal Primer. Okay, I like the way how everything looks. And now that I have all the leaf springs painted on both sides, I will start applying the black paint that I use. I'm going to share that with you guys. And I also brought the rear end here, which I need to clean the whole thing. I'm gonna go clean the whole rear end nice and clean. Change a couple of gaskets and stuff like that. I'll go through the brakes once it's on the car. And let me keep moving forward, because let me tell you, I am getting extremely close for putting the bird back on the garage floor on all its wheel. I'll bring you guys right back. Let me get the black paint ready. Okay, guys, so we are ready now to assemble our leaf spring. And here is the leaf springs already painted. And remember that I grind down the rust. I cleaned all the rust out. And I washed it down with rubbing alcohol. You could use lacquer thinner and all that kind of stuff. I used a Rust-Oleum red oxidized primer to prime it. I'll paint one side one day, let it dry for 24 hours, turn it around, apply the primer to the next side, let it dry for another 24 hours, and then I use the black paint. This black paint is a Rust-Oleum oil base satin black, and that's what you see here. Also, Ace Hardware Store sells their own brand oil-based paint, satin black. I have used both of them and I like the results. All right. Original for Firebird, original, it has like that satin, almost flat black looking color. Okay. So I try to go as original as I possibly can. Now, for assembly your leaf springs, you are going to need your eye perch mount bracket here. Okay, and I marked the left side. You are going to need the bolt for the eye perch pocket, the nut, your cage nut. Okay, and there's three, so you got three mounting points here. As you can see, 1, 2, and 3. All right, and this of course goes on the floor of the car underneath. Okay, you find the cutouts, you slide them on. They have a little movements to them. Here goes your bolts. You need 3 of these for your cage nut here. Now this is interesting. So your U-bolts, okay, the U-bolts and these T-bolts you guys see here, for 68 and 69 Firebird, you are going to need 2 U-bolts and 2 T-bolts for each side. Okay, this is going to do 1 leaf spring, and you need also another set to do the next leaf spring. 1967 Firebird and 1967 Firebird only. And I am pretending to 67 through 69 Firebird, the first gens. That's what I do. 67 Firebird, they use 4 T-bolts. Okay, no U-bolts. I am blessed enough, and I always give thanks to have all first generation Firebirds, and my 67 is a pretty much original car. Okay, still having the original floor, original rear frame rails and all that kind of stuff. And I checked it out and also did some research, but I checked out my car and it's 4 T-bolts. Okay, they sell you kits with 4 T-bolts only, and they also sell you kits with 2 sets of U-bolts with 2 sets of 4 T-bolts, which equals 8. So since I have extra ones, it will be going to a next project. But 68 Firebird, 2 of these for each side, 2 U-bolts for each side. Okay, then you have your leaf springs bushings here. Okay, the leaf spring shackles, which these are the bushings that's going to go on the shackle. And I always find this interesting. These are the original shackle bushings that I took off the Lovebird, and they happen to be original 1968. I went by this part number. I have a real vintage dealer parts number book which only does 67 and 68 Firebird, and these happens to be original. I found it really interesting because they are pliable, all four of them are, and that's kind of cool, so I'm going to hold on to that. Now, these are your shackle bolts, okay? You need two of them, and of course, if it's two bolts, you need two nuts, okay? And these have the cutout on the bolts, which is actually nice because it's an original look. Then you have your insulators that go, this one goes on the axle side, and this one's gonna go on the leaf spring side, okay? Now here you have your clamps. Let me see if I could bring you guys over here. Okay, so over here, you have your leaf spring clamps. You are going to need 4 of these, and I marked it here. 4 of these you're going to need. This is your leaf spring center bolt. This is the original one, crusty, rusty, rotted away. I had to even cut it to get away from the leaf spring. So I bought a 8-point bolt. Okay, and if you want to know the size, there it is, 2.5. Okay, 2.5 inches long, and that's pretending that there is 6 leaf springs here. If you're gonna add that big one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, and here you're gonna need 1 of these bolts for each side, and the bolt is 5/16 in diameter size. Okay, so she's gonna go into this hole. This is like 5/16. She goes pretty snug. 2.5. I just bought that in the hardware store. They do sell the 100% correct bolt for the leaf springs, but I'm not gonna wade through the mailing process and all that stuff. 8-point bolt, strong enough, and it does the same job. I kind of went this route all the time. And here is your leaf spring clamp liner. This is absolutely nuts in my opinion. These are the original ones. I'm just going to take a rubber mat that I have, and I'm going to cut it to this size. This basically doesn't let the clamp make a rattle noise. Okay, so it's an insulator. They call it the leaf spring liner. This is super expensive. Why? I have no idea. But if you're gonna buy them already cut out like this, they are really expensive. You could buy them by the foot. They still expensive. And I'm not going that route, so I will be making my own. But I just want to show how the original ones look. Too bad the other ones are in worse shape than this one. And here goes your leaf spring inserts. These goes on this oval size hole that you have on your leaf springs, just the oval holes. All right, and you are going to need 6 of them for each side of the leaf spring, so you will need 12 to do 2 leaf springs. So I'm going to be putting this together. I already pressed in the bushing, and I'm sorry if when the video of the pressing process was cut short. I apologize for that. My phone was threatening me that I don't have enough space, so I had to erase a whole bunch of things. But I was able to press it in because I have a press over there, back there. And let me tell you something, it's something nice to have if you plan to build more than one car. So guys, this is everything you're going to need to rebuild your leaf springs, okay? I will start putting it together. I'll bring you back. Okay, so your longest and biggest leaf spring, the ones that you pressed in the bushing, now you just follow the pattern from biggest to smallest. Okay, and simply you just want to place it on top and try to match the hole that you are going to be putting your sensor bolt through, like that at the end. You won't be fighting, shifting the leaf spring around. So every time I put a leaf spring, I will be doing this, putting the bolt through. Just cleaning off some paint. All right, there you go. And as you guys can see that, here's the bolt. Okay, remember that is called your sensor bolt. Now we are going to move to the insulators. All right. Here are your insulators. Okay. And they go to that oval shape cutout. You just sneak them in. They should pop through like just like that. Okay, let me do the other side. Okay, going nice and through. All right, for the next one now. Okay. This is the position it goes. There you go. So you're supposed to have a space between the leaf spring and the insulator that we just installed, and here also on this side, and that's why I moved it around. All right, here goes the next leaf spring, which the hole is not pronounced because there's paint stuck. So just punch the paint through. You should be okay. Right. Okay. This one looks like it's also going to be turned this facing this way. And I could tell because the hole for the insulator was too close to the next hole on this side. So you see the gap? Always make sure you have that gap between the holes. Here goes the next insulator, one for each side. Okay. There you go. Now by this point, the bolt won't be showing no more. You will need to either clamp it down with your hands, or I will put a piece of cardboard here, and clamp it with a clamp like that doesn't mark the leaf springs. All right, and this is the second to last leaf spring, and just by the marking I know that she goes here. Okay, the center bolt is still there, the hole, I can see it. Here goes the next insulators and the last ones. Go. A little tough to push them through, especially I gave it a couple of hands of paint. So this paint's build up on the mounting hole, which is okay because it makes it a tight fit as it goes through. This one is pretty tight also, but I got it. This one is fighting me a little, so always gotta be one that fights. Okay. All right. And there you go. So when I clamp on this hard enough, I can see the center bolt. Okay. So there you go. And that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 insulators. Okay. And the final one is going to be your shortest leaf springs, and because of the marking on the metal, because this is the original one, I also know it's pointing that way. Now you will ask yourself, how do I know? The shackle side is where the round part, the last leaf spring, will be facing on the shackle side. Okay, not the perch side. So here goes all the leaf springs. Let me clamp this together so we can put the nut of the center bolt, and I'll bring you guys right back. All right, guys, so I use a C-clamp. I made sure I put some nice cardboard here. I even folded to make a double on the bottom and on the top, like that. I don't mark the leaf spring with the C-clamp. I have the center bolt, okay, and there's a 1/2 inch nut and a 1/2 inch head bolt on the bolt. You could also use 3 ml, so it's a 13 milliliter too. And I'm gonna just tie it up for now, nice and snug. Okay, and now I'm gonna be getting the clamps here set up. All right, guys, so I installed one clamp. There's one more that goes here, and these are the insulators I came up with. Like I said before, the original ones look like this. Okay, I don't happen to have them, and I did not want to spend so much money on them. So I took a rubber mat, the same thickness as these insulators, okay, and I just cut it to size. That's what I have here, and it works nicely. So the next clamp will go on here, okay, and this is the top of the clamp. Put it through. If you see it's not hugging the leaf spring, I grab a rubber mallet. Doesn't take much. Then you get your bottom part of the clamp, put it over. Right? Make sure your liner, that's the rubber, is nice and centered. Once you have that, I like to tap it down. I'm going to do the next side, and what you do is you fold it over, okay? I like to get some vice grips and bend them over. That's the way I do it. I'm going to do the next side now. So guys, let me show you the other side. Here I have the spring clamp bend over, okay? If you want a nice snug fit, that's how I do it. I clamp the center of it, making it more tight, using a vice grip, bending it over and hitting it with a hammer. I still need to do this one and two more on that side. I just wanted to show you how I did it. You grab your vice grips here, okay? You clamp them down and you work your way up, okay? Keep bending it. Grab it the long way now. And when you get about that point right there, you hit it. Right, you get the idea. Then you just whack it down and you'll be done with the clamp part. All right, guys, I want to share something with you guys with these clamps. If you plan to use these clamps, okay, and these are my second time around using these clamps, and I did forget one step, and I'm happy I caught myself on the very first one, which is not a big deal because I have many of these clamps left. But I did forget, and I found out once I saw that the clamp was loose. You see that? Okay, so I'll be taking this one off and replacing it like this. If you can see these ears here, how they are bended, you see they have like a little hole passage there, and this one I hit it with the hammer flat. That's the way it's supposed to look. That's the correct way. So once you bend them about here with the vice grip, just hit it with a hammer, and if you see that it gets rounded here and it's not shut completely, that means that is, let me see if I could focus even closer. There you go. If you see it's rounded there, okay, and it's not flat with the metal of the bracket, it's okay. So this is not correct and this is correct, okay? And you can see this movement here. This one is solid. I can't move it worth of crap. The rest is done the same way. Okay, so I was able to catch myself, and I just wanted to share that with you guys because it's really important. I wouldn't want you guys to mess up all your clamps. You see, he's a little loose there, but I'll fix that towards the end. Now, let's keep on building the leaf spring. All right, now, so everything is put on the leaf spring. We're going to now turn her over because this is the way she will be on the car. All right. The insulator that has this little nipple here, you could call it, goes on the underside. Okay. And this is the one you're going to be putting on your axle. For now, I'm going to put it here. It will give it some cushion, so she'll stop rocking on the bolt. All right. Okay, that helped a little. And the shackle side. It's pretty simple. The shackle side. So, for the shackle side, you're going to have these two bushings right here. Okay. And what you want to do with these two bushings is as simple as putting them in here. Okay. Right. If you want to prevent any squeaking, just do your research. Which grease is safe enough to put on rubber? I have seen that depending on what grease you use, it's not good for the rubber because believe it or not, start eating it away. But if you don't want to hear no noise, I personally never heard any noise, but she goes like this, okay? And you will have one side of the leaf spring, okay? And the other one like this, all right? And the bolt to come over. Now I'm just mocking this up so you guys could see. I'm not going to be tightening nothing down. You need this bolt to go through also, right? You could grab a rubber mallet and hit it. It makes your life easier. Okay. All right. Next bushing. Right. And this is your nut. No, sorry, that's not the nut for that one. This is the nut for that one. The one I said it has the nice cutouts, just like the original. That's really cool. I like seeing things like that. And I'm just mocking it up, so I'm not going to use no wrenches or anything just to tighten this up. So you want it like that. You actually want it a little loose until it comes time to mount it on the car. There, of course, you'll do your adjustment of tying these things down. Do your own research also on the torque specs. Everybody have their own opinion. I mean, I personally would torque it to like anywhere from 75 to 85 foot-pounds. That also goes for the bolt that goes into your leaf spring perch. About 85 foot-pounds, 80 foot-pounds. So that's the shackle side of things. Okay. That's your shackle side of things. That's one right there. And we are going to move to the eye perch now. So the eye perch, you need to have this one right here pivot. I mean, if not perfectly, at least extremely close. All right, and this bolt I know goes in through like right here, because if you're gonna go the other way, you won't be able to take it out because the rocker is over here. All right, this one being the left hand side. Gotta play around with it until you see the bolt sticking on the other side. Once again, if you need a help of the rubber mallet, go right ahead. It's not gonna hurt nothing. There you go. And this is what I mean now. I'm gonna show you guys. I'm just tying everything up with hands because I'm showing you guys when the day comes to put this on the car, I will. And I did a boo-boo here. I did it. Let me fix this. It goes this way, Louis. Okay, that looks much better. There you go, sweetheart. Trying to trick me there, huh? Okay. There you go. And this is the way it will get mounted onto the car. This little hook here, okay, gets hooked through your floor, okay, toward the rear torque box section, and also your rear frame rails. You'll see that it's there. Now this, you need to have it pivot. I mean, if not perfectly, extremely close. And this is why. I'm gonna tell you why. Because when she's on the car, it's really tough to get a wrench in here. Can you? Yes, I have done it before, but I mean, it's extremely tough. So you want to snug this the most you can while it's off the car, and try to have it pivot where you think you're going to need it. Pivot too. And then it's ready to be installed. Well, guys, here comes the last piece of the puzzle, which will be your top insulator, okay? And this one goes on the top. There you go. She be sitting just like that. And once you sandwich everything nice and tight, it will just fit nice and snug. Okay, the bottom one with the nipple, like I showed you, will go when it comes time to do the put it on the axle. All right, there's an indent for that nipple, and it's right in there. Okay, well, guys, as you guys could see, I'm not playing around. I'm extremely busy. Here's the axle. I grind this sucker down, knocked all the rust out, cleaned it until she couldn't be clean no more. I also changed the gasket to the cover. I went through the gears. Jonathan at Vinyl Village Garage, I took a picture of the gears, and he looked, I mean, he knows these cars pretty good. And let me tell you something, anytime I send him a picture of something, of the gears, I mean, he knows when it comes to the engine codes and all that kind of stuff and these gears ratios, I ain't the greatest guy, because I have a whole lot of other information in my heads on these cars, which I didn't want to block away, but Jonathan made room for everything. He know the gear ratio while me looking it up. He said, I mean, it was like instant. He told me, Louis, those are 336 gears. And of course, it's an open diff. That means it's not posi. But listen, I'm building the Lovebird for my wife, and I don't think she's gonna be burning rubber like we guys will. Anyway, there's some girls out there that also will get a little aggressive with these cars. Why not? But I'm building this car for my wife just to enjoy a nice drive on a classic car, on a classic American classic car, American muscle car. So like I said, I'm not playing around. I did the axle already. She's ready to go on the car. I will rebuild the brakes and everything else once she's on the Lovebird. Well, guys, I hope you enjoy this video. All right. All of this stuff you will need once you're gonna mount it on the car. You'll put your cage nuts in. Do this first and make sure they go in nice and easy on your floor. And then you will need these U-bolts that will be going through, okay, and through the axle. I will have pictures, and I might make a video of me installing this. I don't know yet. But guys, this is how Louis restored the leaf spring. Check that out. From being a nasty, rusty, crispy hunk of metal to be nice, fully restored, painted, all new parts put on, and ready to do a couple of more years on the car. Like I said in the beginning of the video, if you ever took these apart and they had a crack or anything, do not weld that. Throw it away and get another leaf spring. This one just happened to be rusty. I cleaned it, and there she goes. Well, guys, after I shut down this video, I will be welding the quarter panel to the car. I have everything zipped down with the self tappers. I'm ready to go and do that today. Once I finish doing that, I have the deck lid lock brace, okay, which I'm gonna make a video of that. If you guys want to see a video of that, just let me know in the comments and I'll make a video of it. And also something really interesting under the car. Let me see if I could zoom in a little more. This little piece right there, okay, and that is called your dry shaft bump stop. That is in case your dry shaft lets go, it won't tear up the floor and go through. They do not make them attached to the floor. Before, you will hear Jonathan at Vinyl Village Garage, you will hear myself saying that they don't have to make that part. Well, guess what? They started making it aftermarket now. This was given to me from a fellow friend of mine. He's a follower of mine. He also follows YouTube and a couple of guys, Brian at Arrowhead Garage. And he gave me a nice message on Facebook Messenger the other day, giving me so much thank you for my videos, and also thanking Jonathan that we helped him on the journey of restoring his 67 Firebird from start to finish. I saw pictures of it. It's awesome, and is also an orange car. That's the second orange 67 I see for this year. Mike at Lake and Lodge being the other 67. His is a convertible, so it's cool. I got to see a convertible and a coupe painted in orange, which I think is an excellent color choice. But Larry and his friend Tom put the energy together on his 67 coupe to build. Guys, congratulations. That's awesome. That's a milestone that you guys accomplished there. But I'm going to share the details about that part because not all of them fit the same. And I'm going to tell you which years are which and which year fit on the Lovebird, because it wasn't a 68. It was a different year. So you guys are going to see that coming up soon here at First Generation Garage. Take care, guys. Thank you for everything. The Lovebird is almost ready to reach the garage floor on its own wheels. Take care now. Keep your hands dirty, like I say, and your project will move forward. Bye-bye.